At the end of this year at EVHS, our English department will be suffering high turnover, but that could just be a microcosm of the partially failing education system on the state level.
Our challenge is, of course, finding affordable housing. We try to be in the top 10 of our state of 178 districts, but I think the other metric we have to consider is how does Colorado rank among the other 50 states? And we're near the bottom. So we lose a lot of educators to other states that pay much higher than we do and have a cost of living much lower than we do.
You know, our state not paying is driving teachers even out of the state to some place where it's going to pay more. Teachers are leaving the industry for higher paying jobs right here, or they're leaving the state for higher paying teacher jobs or lower cost of living teacher jobs.
According to the Colorado Education Association, the Colorado Education Department has operated at a deficit of $10 billion for the last decade. This is largely due to parts of the Colorado tax system preventing money from going to schools.
What our state has failed to do over time is to define adequate. So we have a state funding formula, and it's tied to property tax. But if you look at how we fund our schools at average per pupil spending, we're about $3,000 below the national average in per pupil funding. If we could invest those dollars in our schools, then we could compensate our teachers much better, be much more competitive. But at present, the state has no definition of what an adequate cost to educate our students would be. Then we just take whatever the legislature is willing to give us, which is woefully inadequate, and there's not enough momentum to change that formula.
So then it's the problem, do you put the money towards teachers, more FTE, more teachers, or you put it towards salary? So you get smaller class sizes, or do teachers get more money? So there's this balancing act that they have to deal with just with that scenario.
Using the limited resources it has, the district is currently attempting to alleviate part of the cost of housing in the valley.
For many in our community, especially our employees, they are house poor. They're spending 50, 60, 70% of their income sometimes on housing, which leaves barely any discretionary income to do anything else. We're building rentals in Edwards. We're building some homes in Eagle in partnership with Habitat for Humanity that will be for purchase. And we've got other projects online to continue to develop more housing. So there's a couple of examples of how we're trying to reach that more affordable living rate.
When Colorado as a whole is struggling to stay effectively funded, sometimes the district has to turn to unconventional means to get students the education they require.
So is it sustainable? If enough people with the right personality want to do it, it's sustainable. But again, it's hiring from other countries for a 2 to 3 year turnaround is a little tougher. I mean, we get some great people. I'm not saying they're not great people. They are great. But it's hard to do that with a 2 to 3 year turnaround. Then you start over with that much work. So I think we're going to have to for a while, but hopefully people come back to want to be in the industry.
Not only are teachers denied fair, reasonable wages and housing by the state, they also often take the brunt of criticism from the public.
Today what we see is K-12 educators are more and more frequently in the crosshairs. They're accused of teaching things that people think are inappropriate, or they don't like the politics of the teachers, and they're constantly targeted, constantly criticized. If you choose to enter it at this point, you know that you're entering the culture war. Whether you want to or not, that's the environment that K-12 has been placed in.
These problems are not just plaguing EVHS and Colorado. This is a nationwide problem, and ultimately, it's up to us as future voters to make meaningful change. For Eagle Valley Student Media, this has been Justin and Sam.